There you go. Thank you so much, Lou. Good stuff. You know, I've been in this movement a long time, as I said before, and it has always been a struggle, at least it was for a little while in the beginning, to get the media. But to actually become the media, I mean, that's exactly the way you want to approach these things. Having fun with liberty, that's the way to do it. And our next speaker is another person having fun with liberty. But before I get on to him, just a few things that I should have mentioned earlier. First of all, because the Valley Forge Beef and Ale burned down and we had to shift over, we're having a little bit of trouble with our stream. If it's a little bit choppy, you got a little problem with it, stay with it. If not, if it's just too much to keep up with, we're going to be posting all this through our meetup, Montgomery County Libertarian Meetup, and our Facebook page, so it'll still be out there in the end. The other thing is I forgot to thank a couple of our sponsors. It's the worst thing in the world if you forget your sponsors, because a lot of people help get word out about this. And I'm sorry the fire department didn't word out that we're going to be a little bit late, but we were getting help from all around the area. In fact, the New York State Libertarian Party chair, Mark Axon, was advertising this organizational workshop in his area. That's not all. The New Jersey chair, Jay Edgar, was advertising it in New Jersey, telling the Jersey people to come over here. And best of all, the one that got the most attention, our own Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania, our own state chair, put out an extraordinary alert to let everybody know that this was going on. How about that? You gotta love it when libertarians pull together. And it's not just libertarians, it's anybody in the freedom movement. I know we have a few anarcho-capitalists out there, a few diehard anarchists, some people who are a bit on the left but are tired of the control, some people who are a bit on the right who are tired of the control. So we have a very large tent here. And that's part of the reason why the Montgomery County Libertarians are doing this. Having said that, now let's move on to our next speaker. Somebody else who has a lot of fun with liberty. And let me tell you, I have been there to see the fun with liberty. Every month, he takes over a nightclub in downtown Philadelphia, the Underground Arts, 12th and Callow Hill. Usually it's the third Friday of the month. Great time. It reminds me, I'm a child of the 60s. I was there, I was in high school in the late 60s, college in the early 70s. I was right in the middle of that action. I've not seen anything like back then until I started going to Underground Arts. So that's our next speaker is the person who's putting that together. He's also the founder of TFP, Truth, Freedom, and Prosperity, which is another big tent liberty organization who does all sorts of events. He's big in the Philly Grassroots movement, and just a couple months ago, he won the most prestigious award that Montgomery County offers, and that is our Full Monty Award for his actions for liberty. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Full Monty himself, Mike Salvi!
Thank you. For those of you that were there, you did get to see my Full Monty. It won't be happening today. Thanks for the intro, Ken. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
Sir.
I'll give you your money in a little while. How's everybody doing? Woo! Good. You guys are fired up for instructional things, and that's a big plus. So I was asked to talk about fun with grassroots organizing because I have a lot of fun with grassroots organizing. So anybody can do this, and this is a little different for me, you know, kind of giving an instructional talk on how to do this. I've been thinking about it for the past few days. How do I put this together? I really don't know specific strategies that I come up with. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, there's no like set plan. There's no set formula for doing the things that we do here. Really, it's just a matter of networking through people. That's the biggest thing that we do. That's what TFP became. For those of you that don't know, TFP is an organization that we started called Truth, Freedom, Prosperity. And we were real specific in the way that we named it because we didn't want to be like the... It's tough kind of when you label yourself in a certain category. So if we were like a libertarian organization, well, there's libertarians that, you know, libertarians don't really get along all the time. So, you know, if we came out one way as a libertarians, we get the other libertarians that don't agree with us. And I don't have time to waste fighting with people and arguing. So we try to keep things fun. by opening up the net and calling it truth, freedom, prosperity. Those are the only three things that we stand on together as a group. There's a little under 900 of us, at least on our mailing list. But as far as events go, you know, on smaller events we can count on maybe an average of 50 people showing up, and the larger events we usually cap out a little around 300. But the group of people here is absolutely incredible. How the hell did we put all this together? How do we build this? Well, the one thing was, for me, I mean, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about how I got into this movement, but I saw that there was some type of a problem. So I guess the first thing is find a problem. Find a very specific problem. And there's plenty out there, but try to find something that everybody can relate to. The thing that I happen to notice that most people all have in common is money. So we started talking about the Federal Reserve, and that's been like the lead thing that we've pushed with, is the like end the Fed rallies and just, you know, bringing the Federal Reserve up to light. It seemed to work because a whole lot of people joined on. Not everybody was super fired up about Ron Paul. Not everybody's super fired up about marijuana legalization, although I don't know what the hell's wrong with you if you're not. But there's all these different topics, 9/11 and tyranny and police state. We picked the Federal Reserve because that seems to be the thing that everybody can relate to. So the first thing is find a problem. The second thing is get out. Get out of your house, go meet people, go find functions, and just start talking about this stuff. And you would be surprised. I'm still, to this day, even 4 or 5 years later, still surprised at the amount of people that can relate to what we're talking about and actually thank us for doing what we do, which is, it's a weird feeling. But get out, go find people, find friends. That's probably the most important thing that you can do. Get a friend. If you don't have any friends, find one. What you'll start to notice is that the more you talk to people, the more they are in touch with a lot of these issues. So start putting things together. So truth, freedom, prosperity. Truthfully, as far as issues go, like all types of specific issues, I'd like to believe that we stay pretty light on our feet. And what I mean by that is, if there's an issue that's out there, I mean, it's not like, we're not a one-issue type of a group of people. So we change different topics, but bottom line thing that we usually do is we push back, we do our best to resist certain things, we try to have fun with it. Why is it important to have fun with it? Because holding signs gets boring. Standing outside on the street, handing out flyers gets pretty boring. The more you have fun, the more you actually attract other fun things in your life and other fun people. If we didn't spend the time at Occupy Philly, we would have never met the guys from the Panic Hour, N.A. Poe and Steve Miller. Talk about fun. These guys are hysterical, and they add such I hate to say comic relief, but it really is a big comic relief with the things that they do. So, you meet people like that. So as far as a group, I mean, if you decide that you want to start a group, find a couple friends, pick a specific issue, and start to have fun with it. What we do, so what I can talk about, is we put a bunch of different organizers together, and we all cross-promote each other's events. So, for instance, Survive and Thrive. Well, Fernando Salguero, who's just absolutely an amazing person, he runs these survival workshops once a month, and he teaches people how to survive off the grid if you had to. We always promote every one of his events. So we put him in a position of being an organizer. Mark Passio, we put him in a position of being an organizer. Although Jim's not an official organizer, he pretty much is, because he's always involved with different fun things that don't always seem fun, but when Jim comes along, it's a lot of fun. It just doesn't... A lot of beer. Yeah.
They don't seem fun.
They seem fun. Alcohol certainly helps, although it's not necessary. Keep cross-promoting each other's events. We linked up recently this year with a gentleman named Steve Petrowski, who started an organization called Citizens for Liberty. Again, we're just cross-promoting each other's events. It's not necessary that we as a group endorse everything, but we're just letting everybody know what happened. Before I know it, I turned around, I looked back, and I saw how many events we have had accomplished, how many people we've networked with, how many people come up to us and say, oh my God, the work that you guys do is absolutely amazing, and we're just like, thanks. I don't really think of it that way. We just feel like there's a necessary, there's just a need to get out and do something. So, but as far as, find all the different events. Meet up with different organizers. You will be very surprised to find out that there's more people out here doing certain things than you think. We find new people all the time. I constantly get emails through TFP site, and people say, oh my God, there's actually somebody else out there? Yeah, there's already an established group. And even if in the beginning, if there's only 3 of you, you build up those 3 people like there's nothing, like they're the greatest people in the world. You know, it's okay to exaggerate a little bit some of the events that you do. That's fine, because you really want to put out this image. And not saying that we're, you know, that we're lying or fabricating about the amount of people or the types of events that we do, but we're genuinely overly enthusiastic about what we talk about. Constant contact. Facebook helps, Twitter helps, online helps. You know, people actually do still use email. I honestly, I have like boxes of like these different filters that I set up on my email, and half of them I don't check. I set up one filter on my email called General Crap. I just usually typically delete it. But if there's events coming from my friends, I make sure that we put them on our calendar. You got to work through others. Believe me, in the first year or so, I tried to do everything myself, and it just didn't work. I got really stressed out, and you know, felt like I was collapsing. Keep working through others. You got to let people feel like they're a part of what you're doing, and as soon as they feel like that, and they feel like they're contributing, they feel like they're you know, they're a crucial part in your group, they'll come up with new ideas. They keep getting excited. That helps. Brag. This is what I wrote down. Brag, 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 brag about all your friends. I constantly brag about how great these people are. I brag about how great Jim is. I brag about the fact that we know Lou Jasikoff, who's become a new media, like a whole new media. You know, and we can all say that these are the people that are in our network. So if you're meeting somebody new for the first time, then you try to get them to join your group. Oh yeah, we got, doesn't matter, you can just say we, because we're all we, right? You say, oh, we have our own media set up in Scranton. We have our own, you know, we have all our connections with the New York people. Even if you know like one person in New York, it doesn't matter. You're friends with everybody, so brag about how big your network is. Before you know it, you're going to see how big it is. The most important thing I think for all of us is to let nothing get in your way. I have 2 jobs, I have a kid, a family, you know, I have a social life, I have hobbies, I have things that I want to do. I don't want to be outside handing out flyers when it's 30 degrees, trying to get somebody out of a, you know, an ugly situation. But the fact is that's what happens. Don't think about any of the hardships. Just go. Just you know, hit the gas and don't worry about any of that stuff. Don't dwell on nonsense. You'll have gossip. You'll have crap. None of that stuff advances you. The things that matter the most are the people. So stay in touch with them. You know, you'll get flack. You'll get some people that'll give you some negative feedback. Just ignore them. Honestly, just ignore them. Most people, what I've found out is a lot of people talk about their family, giving them problems, or saying, why are you wasting your time doing any of this stuff? Just ignore them. Before you, I mean, I'm at a point now where my family comes up to me, asks me what I think about all these new issues. I don't even really follow the stories that are coming out anymore. You know, Chris Dorner is the big topic of the week. I'm like, I'm worried about Fernando Salguero. Chris Dorner, I don't really give a shit about this guy. I have my own, you know, issues to deal with. But people do come to me with these interesting topics, and what do you think about this? I like the fact that some people classify me as like a staunch Republican. I like the fact that people classify me as like a staunch whatever, because it gives me a chance to interact with them one-on-one and say, no, I'm really not. And I can tell you why. You know, a good friend of mine asked me, you know, so I guess you're supporting Mitt Romney. Why the hell would I do that? So he said, well, I figured you would be. Aren't you a Republican? I said, well, I registered that way to vote for Ron Paul, but that doesn't make me a Republican. Actually, that's a good tie into my next thing. Is so stand firm on principles, but you know, don't be married to specific ideas, and be ready to be wrong. Meaning that you know, you could think a specific topic is like the most important thing, but it might not be. Or you know, the more you get out, you know, treat this kind of like a free market concept of ideas, because try something, and if it works, keep running with it. And the Fed rallies seem to be working for us. We do them twice a year. Mike Heiss came along and helped us, you know, organize another huge national in the Fed rally, so we're doing them a lot more frequently. But if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you're not getting anywhere and nobody's coming out, well, do something different. The thing that I'm the most proud of, what you started talking about in the beginning, is TFP Live. Yep. That came from a meeting with NAPO over barbecue dinner and a couple beers, and you know, we came up with this concept of how do we make this fun and how do we make this interesting. So we happened to find a venue. I just think that things work out. I don't understand why. I won't try to figure out why, but things just work out. We found a venue that was perfect. We have a gig once a month where we have comedians, musicians, and then we do an interview with a featured activist. We live stream it. The quality is usually better than this, so thanks for sticking it out. But it's good because the whole purpose of that, we also do monthly documentary screenings, and the whole purpose of this is for the people that are like, that are already quote unquote in the know, like the choir, to bring their friends to an event that they can kind of deal with. You can say, oh, this is just a comedy show. Well, they end up coming, you know, it's like we rope them in. You know, we rope them in with comedy, we rope them in with something interesting and music, and before you know it, most people are leaving saying, wow, we really get what you guys are talking about. Make this fun. There's a million different ways to do it. The best part about this whole free market concept is, if what you're doing isn't working, you have the total freedom. And that's what we all have in common, right? Freedom, liberty, we all love that. You have the freedom to come up with a whole brand new concept. We're lucky enough to be alive in 2013 where you can live stream something from your phone. You have everything literally at your fingertips. All you need is a free YouTube account, a free Ustream account, and just start, use social networks, use whatever. I'm a big advocate of just face-to-face contact, because when you send out a bunch of invites on a social networking site, not everybody shows up. But they will show up if you sat and talked to them for 5 minutes about it. You'd be surprised. So ideas are, keep the ideas pouring in, especially with new people. Constantly reach out for new people. We're taking a different approach this spring, which we haven't done in a while, but we're hitting campuses. We're going out in the street a lot more, handing out flyers to get people to become a part of our group. That face-to-face contact works so much more, because if you get an invite from somebody on Facebook, you're like, yeah, I'll never click join, and oh, that was last week, how was it? I hate that. I hate hearing that. So the face-to-face contact is a big deal. Mix what you do with important things. We talked about the Fully Informed Jury Association and Julian Heikling. God, if an 80-some-year-old man can stand outside for for hours and hand out flyers, I think I still have a little bit of energy too. So guys like that are an inspiration. We brag about the fact that we know Julian really well. But it's one thing to go to an event, but it's another thing to figure out what's coming up next. So you've got to bring people with you, and if anybody missed an event, don't give them crap about it, don't make them feel guilty, but you got to tell them how much fun it was. If you miss the next one, you're crazy. And you got to get people to come out. TFP Live has just been a great thing. I want other people to do the same thing, because it's a way to rope people in. And some people just come up and they say, we thought this was just going to be a little comedy show. We thought we were just going to get entertained. Before you know it, they're walking out the door with torch and pitchforks and ready to overthrow the government. So hopefully that works. And the other thing that we do too is not just entertainment. We're always ready at the drop of a hat to join some type of an activist demonstration, or hypothetically, if one of our friends got arrested, we're usually on the ball, and we hypothetically, of course, we organize really well, but I really think it just comes from constantly contacting everybody and staying in touch, and that sort of thing makes a difference. For example, NAPO and the Panic Hour threw something. This was their second one. They threw. It's called Smoke Down Prohibition. Woo! Right. For those of you that don't know, 100 plus people, 120 plus people stood outside at the Liberty Bell at the First Amendment gravestone and smoked marijuana. They smoked cannabis, and not one arrest. The first event, the place was surrounded with police. The second event, there was one civil affairs cop car with 2 civil affairs police officers, and it was 30-some degrees out, so they didn't want to get out of their car. But the power behind something like that civil disobedience, that we're not hurting anybody, we're having fun. I mean, they played reggae music, they made it fun. I went down, I covered it, I live streamed the event, but a good chunk of TFP members were there. I'm not saying everybody did or didn't participate. That's always your choice. I'm not putting anybody on blast here, but those are the types of events that are important to cover, and those are the types of things that happen. I didn't put that together. I didn't have anything to do with that. But a really good friend of mine did, and he's an amazing, he's just an amazing person. He's an activist. He gets out, and I'll promote everything that guy does, because I'm confident in the way that he does what he does. And those are the types of things that kind of keep us going. The other thing is become a beacon. I'd like to believe that TFP has become the big hub here in Philly, and I don't always see it because I'm looking at it from my perspective. But when I hear people come up and talk to us about how great things are, then I start to really get how big things are. I looked on Meetup, and we're the 8th or 9th largest Ron Paul meetup in the country. So if you go to meetup.com and you type in Ron Paul, I think we're like 8 or 9 ranked. That's a big friggin' deal.
And you're not even a Ron Paul meetup.
And we're not even a Ron Paul meetup. How do you like that? Right. I think that's a really big friggin' deal. Now, I will attribute some of it to the fact that we're just in a highly populated area, but that doesn't really matter. I don't think that it does, because just by putting the website out there, people join, and I think it's just because we're awesome. I'll just say that. I think that's why. The last thing that I'll close with is, hopefully this is a helpful tip. I think this is what works for me anyway. Stay excited. It's very easy to get tired. It's very easy to get bored, bored with the same things that you're doing. But you got to find a passion, and you got to stay excited, because the more excited you are, the more excited other people are, and they want to become a part of it. If you get bored, you have the freedom to come up with a new concept, because I'll tell you right now, TFP is only going to go as far as the members take it. Mike Salvi's world is only going to go as far as Mike Salvi takes it. I'm totally in charge of it. N.A. Poe and Steve Miller are 100% in charge of the Panic Hour. That's, there's not going to be a next show next week if we don't put in what we want to put into it. And we're only going to make it interesting and exciting if we're passionate about it. Lou talked about exposing yourself, to kind of stay protected. N.A. Poe is a perfect example of that, and nobody exposes himself like N.A. Poe. Nobody. Believe me. What I mean by that is, for the example of the smoke down prohibition, doing something like that and having more people there, making sure there's a live feed camera, making sure that there's cameras there, making sure people are watching, by putting yourself out there, the safer you become. And I think we kind of do the same thing. People always joke about, oh, is the FBI tapping your phone or whatever. I don't know. I don't care. I really don't. And if they are, hopefully they get the message. Hopefully they get a chance to appreciate what we're saying, and maybe this will sink in a little bit. But the biggest thing that you guys can do is really stay excited, find friends, and just stay passionate. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully, any questions? All right, you clap, please. That makes me feel awesome. Yeah! That speech was so good. Didn't even have a question. Steve.
Does the fact that the side room of the Valley Forge beer, beef, and ale burned to the ground today, does that make the fact that you won your full Monty there that much more significant?
Yes, the question was,
repeat the question.
Knowing that the room that you won it is smoldering ashes.
The question was, knowing that the room that I won the full Monty Award burned to the ground, does that make it more effective? Is that it? Yeah. And the answer is yes, because now nobody else can get that full Monty Award there. That's like done, it's a part of history, and I hold the crown. So, there you go. Any other questions? Cool. Well, thank you for your time, folks. I'm out.